How did your sibling betray your family? My mother only had a few months left to live. She had stage 4 cancer, and we were just trying to keep her comfortable at home. I moved back in to help out and do what I could, because honestly, she was the kind of mom who always showed up. She was supposed to be on a pretty strict medication schedule, fentanyl patches for the worst of the pain. But some nights I'd walk in and find her curled in on herself, clutching her side, teeth clenched like she was trying not to cry. I offered to call the doctor, maybe increase her dosage. She brushed me off and said she was fine. That should have been the end of it, but something didn't sit right. One night I found her weeping, not sobbing, not loud, just these tiny gasps as she sat on the edge of the bed holding her stomach. I checked her pouch under her pillow where she usually kept the patches, and a few were missing. When I asked, she fumbled through this excuse about forgetting how many she'd used. I didn't want to press, but I started paying attention. That's when I remembered how my brother Jason always kissed her forehead when he visited, really slow, like he was praying. His hand would always linger under her pillow. I used to think it was sweet. Then I started counting the patches. I'd mark the corner of the packages with a dot. A couple would always go missing after Jason came by. Jason was different lately too. He'd come over full of smiles and devotion, told everyone he was heartbroken about Mom, but I noticed how jumpy he got the longer he stayed. He'd start to sweat and pace, like he was desperate to be alone with her. I started sticking around during his visits and he'd get quiet, weird, distant. Mom started hiding her meds in different places, under the mattress, inside a sock in her drawer, in a little Ziploc taped inside her robe. I never saw her do it. I just found the hiding spots by accident, but even then, she kept running out. When I finally asked her if someone was taking her medication, she flinched, not physically, just this stiffness in her voice. She said, "Everyone in this family is doing their best," and she wouldn't look at me after. A few days later, I found 3 empty fentanyl packages in the bathroom trash, stuffed under tissues and a razor cartridge box, not where Mom would ever put them. The worst part was watching her in pain and knowing she was timing her relief around Jason's visits. She'd wait hours just to make sure he didn't have the opportunity to steal more, and even then, he'd find a way. She finally broke one night. I found her shaking and pale, and she asked if I'd sit in her room when Jason visited. She didn't explain, just asked, quiet, embarrassed. I said yes. I didn't even think. I just sat. That night, I installed a small camera in the room. It looked like a clock. She nodded when I told her. No words, just that same tired look. The footage nearly broke me. Jason bent over to kiss her like always. Then his hand slid under the pillow, and he pocketed the patch in one clean motion. She didn't move. She just lay there, eyes closed, pretending. I confronted him alone. He didn't deny it. He even seemed proud of it. Said he could get his fix for free. He even blamed us. Said no one noticed because we were all too focused on Mom. She's dead anyway. Why does she matter more? I stood there feeling sick. It's at that moment that Mom called for us. She'd heard. She told us both she knew all along, that she had tried asking her doctor for more, but there were limits. She said she didn't want her last days to be filled with fighting. Her voice was weak, but firm. I called Jason outside the next day. He looked ready for a fight. I handed him an envelope. Inside was some money and the address of a rehab facility. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "You have 2 choices. Get help now, or don't come back until after she's gone." And Jason lunged at me, swinging wildly. I couldn't tell you what happened next. The full story is on my channel and linked below.